Hi everybody, welcome to the Keeping It Real reality check show. I'm your host, Keeping It Real, and this is my show, Reality Check. I'm not really sure what I'm going to talk about today, so it's going to be kind of a plethora of information, wide-ranging. I know there's a lot of topics I'd like to cover since I'm just really starting these videos back up again, so just bear with me if it seems like I'm ranting or if I'm jumping from subject to subject, but there are definitely some subjects I'd like to talk about this time around. I guess the first thing, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tiny bit of an intro into who I am. I'm what you would call a conspiracy theorist, geopolitical researcher, eschatologist, whatever you want to say. I've studied the secret societies of the world. I've studied the Bible end times. I've studied secret experiments, secret government programs, NASA, Bigfoot, UFOs, you name it. You name it, I study it. If there's something that doesn't make sense to me, I study it. And along the way, I've come to believe that our society, our world, is controlled by a very small group of men who basically want us to sustain their lifestyles. They live extravagant, high lifestyles, needs that you can't even imagine. And it's our purpose here on life is to make sure that they live the lifestyles that they choose for themselves. You can call them the power elites, you can call them the Illuminati, you can call them whoever. I mean, the nephilim. They have a lot of names, but I'm not really going to go into the details because I'm kind of digressing as far as what I'd like to talk about tonight. I guess the big thing is that over those years, the 28 years that I've been studying these subjects, I've come to realize that the world that I live in isn't what I've always been told or taught in school. There's a much different, more evil thing going on in the world that a lot of us, I think, are either too busy to pay attention. And if we do become aware of something that maybe is said on the news or that doesn't make sense to them, they really don't want to hear it, or they don't want to do anything about it. And I guess that really doesn't make sense because I've been doing this for 28 years, and I hear, 20 years ago, secret government programs to radiate small towns in Northern California and Colorado with, tainting the water supplies with, plutonium, and then watching the adverse effects for science research, and depleted uranium being sold to Schwinn to make bicycles. And when you find out that all these things are true, just a strange thing, a click happens, an epiphany that maybe evil does exist. Maybe evil in the world is much more evil than you can even think of. I mean, when most people think of evil, they think of Charlie Manson, or they think of Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, things like that. But the evil that I'm talking about is pretty huge. And I believe it would be directly connected to the devil and, I guess the angels that left heaven to come to earth. And I believe that they've kind of been here the whole time. And they kind of rule this world. And I guess, I don't know, I know that I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but it's kind of hard to wrap up 28 years of study into a kind of a random, off-the-shoulder conversation. Maybe I should get a little more structured and make notes and try to follow a script and stuff like that, but I really don't because I think I want to speak from the heart. Anyways, we hear a lot of conspiracy theorists talk about these power elites that rule our world. They call them the Rothschilds, they call them the CFR, the Trilateral Commission, the Bohemian Grovers. They got millions of names, folks, and they are real. Now, they might have many different names, much like, the Skull and Bones, or the Freemasons, or the Rosicrucians or the Knights Templar. You know, I mean, there's all these conspiracies out there that you know, that people get focused on. Oh, it's the Templars, or it's the Skull and Bones, or it's the Bohemian Grovers, or it's a group of Satanists, Luciferians, or that it's some kind of ancient royal alien bloodline. I mean, there are all these conspiracies out there, and I have met a lot of conspiracy theorists over the years, and they tend to focus on like just one thing. And what they really need to do is kind of open up their mind and make the connections between all of them. And believe it or not, there is a connection between all of them. You know, my core belief is that, because I'm a religious man, but that the devil left his place in heaven, brought down 200 angels, and came down to mankind and mated with women. Those women had children. Those nephilim, those angels, were worshipped as gods, and then their children were worshipped as god kings, and then those god kings became a thinned out bloodline over the last several thousand years. And those are our people of power that actually control our world today. And it's kind of noticeable if you look at it. And even in some cases, they even talk about that that's who they are. I mean, you look at the British royal family, and they'll openly admit that they're descendants of some holy bloodline. And what is it? Recently, Prince Charles just said he's related to Count Dracula, you know, and vampires and stuff like that. So, I mean, you have these power elites, these very powerful, influential people, evil people. And they're out there, whether you like it or not. And below them, they have banks, bankers, private bankers. They have people in corporations. And most of these people in these corporations and banks and places of government and places of influence in our society that all belong to many different societies, but they all work together without really knowing that they're working together. Each head of a society works to control his society or a group of people, and then you have another group of people but in the upper echelons of these societies, they're working together, controlling the people below them, and figuring out who will, you know, do their deeds and who won't do their deeds, and they kind of mold them that way to get their agenda accomplished. And they use a lot of different methods to do it. They use money, wealth, greed, of course, is a huge influence and a motivator for most people. Most people don't like working, you know, a blue-collar job. Think that there's something bigger for them or they're more special than the person next to them, when in reality they're not. It's just a selfish nature inside of man that wants them to have power and influence. And these societies grab a hold of that. And I don't know how many people, because I talk about the Freemasons and I talk about the Knights Templar and all these secret societies that somebody could join up. And it's surprising to me how many men that I talk to go, wow, I want to be a part of the Freemasons, because Freemasons help each other, you know. They have influence. You can get away by doing certain hand signs and in court and to get away with it, you know, and people go, wow. And that's that influence that they look for in people. And, you know, and then they take these good people, the good-hearted people, you know, the Christian, charitable, God-fearing type people, and they keep them in their societies as a cover, and they go out and do the charitable events. But these people who are easily manipulated by money, wealth, power, and influence, they continue to move up and enjoy the benefits of evil, I guess. Anyways, all these minions in these secret societies actually work for these upper echelons without even really knowing it. And that's how I guess it's always been. I mean, you go to the Romans, the Phoenicians, the Sumerians, the Egyptians. There was always this hierarchy, this high level of, you know, royalty that always called themselves gods, you know, and they were, in most cases, worshipped as gods. And they always had this following of people beneath them that would do anything they can just to be associated with these gods or these god kings, you know. And because of that association, their lives would escalate and go up and better and better. And that's the fundamental core of what the devil does on this world, and you know, and that's what God warns us about all the time, is to stay away from that. But the secrets, and like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of rambling going on, but I'm kind of a free floater, you know. I just wing it because there's like so much information going on in the head. But you really need to pay attention, I guess, to what I'm saying going on. And it's my first beer. I guess what I'm saying is that these secret societies, these power elites, those are real. The corporations that financed Hitler and the war against Hitler, because they funded both sides of all the world wars that we've had, and they all exist. The Federal Reserve, you know, creating money out of air, they exist. This Council of Foreign Relations, they exist. Majestic 12s, they did exist, you know, with the UFO cover-ups. It's when you start talking about child pedophilia rings out there that, you know, that cater to the upper elites, and 500,000 missing kids, and where do they go? Well, you, as a researcher, you know, you find out where these go, and you start talking to people about it, and they really don't want to hear it. You know, they don't want to hear that, you know, 9/11 was an inside job, and parts of our government was actually aware, maybe even responsible for the attacks in 9/11. People don't want to hear it. I mean, it's, what do they call that? Cognitive dissonance. It's when your brain does kind of like a break, you know, you're like zipping along, my life is great, and all of a sudden you find out, you know, your government killed 3,200 some odd people on 9/11 to further an agenda. Your brain stops for a second. And you get this look. Let me see if I can duplicate this. For about a half second. And then it starts working to fill in all these little things to try to make that make sense to you, no matter how irrational that thought process might be. Cognitive dissonance makes that unwelcomed reality make sense to you, so you're happy. And no matter how much that works for you, that harsh reality is still going on. It's a lot like me telling you that your daughter's being raped by your great uncle. And you go, well, my uncle would never do that. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy. He loves the kids. Or finding out that your son is stealing money from you. You tell yourself, and the person who told you that your son is stealing money, yeah, my kid would never do that. Why? Little Joey, he's great. It's straight A's in school. He does this and this. That's cognitive dissonance. And there's actual a fog that goes over the eyes when that happens. And that's just something a trained researcher who talks a lot to people actually picks up. But if I tell you about it, I'm going to do it again. All right? It's kind of like a daze. I got Japanese squinty eyes, so it doesn't really show it real well. But check it out. Ready? Cognitive dissonance. Anyway. And it happens for a brief moment. You can actually see it working in people. And the thing is you have to break that cognitive dissonance. You have to go, okay, my mind is telling me something to help it make sense. And you have to go, well, wait, that really doesn't make any sense. Maybe, you know, my wife is cheating on me. Maybe my son is stealing money, and maybe 110 stories stealing concrete buildings don't fall at free fall speed because of jet fuel. It's just kind of a weird thing to talk about, folks. And I'm trying to put it all in, you know, because I'm videoing this, I'm 14 minutes into it, and I really don't know if I'm getting my point across to you. And honestly, I don't even know what that point is. But I'm sure at the end of this video, when I'm all said and done, it's going to make some kind of sense to you. You might even rewind it and listen to it again. But let's go into some of the reality checks. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm gonna put that aside. Okay, in case you didn't know, this is it is an actual U.S. flag. It's the Bennington flag of 1776, the year of revolution in America, where the people rose up against the King of Britain because of the tyrannical things that he was doing, overtaxation, putting troops in their homes, demanding their guns be taken away from them. And I'm going to keep that there. And it's going to be in all my shows, just as a symbol of, I do believe that we need another 1776 in order for this country to survive. And it's not, I guess, not just the country, I guess for the world to continue on doing what it's supposed to be doing, And so that's what that is. And I'm thinking 16 minutes in it that you might be getting an idea of who I am. And I know some of this is going to sound crazy, and maybe a lot of it's going to sound crazy. But the important thing is I don't care if you think I'm crazy or not. I've been doing this 28 years. I've had 2 psychological evaluations, and I've passed both of them, so I'm not crazy. I've got a pretty decent high IQ. I might be a bit of a flathead, but I'm able to see and accept reality for what it really is. Why? Because I want to change it. I want to make the world a bigger and better place. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we get rid of the influence in our lives, the things that control our lives, that, like this box that's behind me, and the people who control this box and what goes on that box, because what goes on that box goes in our heads. And they don't call it TV programming for nothing, because it actually programs you. And we need to get rid of this. And we need to get the people who are way up in the echelons, who control our media, who control the government, who control the banks and the money, and understand who and what they exactly are. Because once you know what the problem is, you can fix it. And most of you don't know what the problem is, know what the problem is, and are too afraid to do something. And honestly, I faced a lot of ridicule over my life, a lot, from people, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when I would talk about the coming New World Order and a police state and a big brother and an Orwellian society, and people go, oh, you're absolutely crazy. There's no such thing as a coming New World Order. Even when George Bush Sr. got on there in September 11, 1991, I believe it was, when he did his first New World Order speech. Even then, people said, oh, there's no such thing as a New World Order. There's that cognitive dissonance again. But I faced a lot of ridicule back then, and not so much nowadays, which is a great thing, because I see a lot of people waking up. And one of the most interesting things about being a conspiracy theorist or a geopolitical researcher, whatever you want to call me, is that my rewards don't come. I mean, I don't get paid to do this. My rewards come when 10 years down the road, somebody that I've, been talking to this about, every time I see him, goes to me and says, man, Mike, you know what? You were right. And I think that is probably the biggest reward that I ever need. I don't think I could do this for money, even though it would be nice. But that reward of seeing somebody's eyes wake up, have the scales come off their eyes, so they can actually see what's going on in the world, and then start making better choices, and then become informed, and then start sharing that information with other people. To me, that is the hugest award that I could ever get for doing what I do and have done for 28 years. There are a lot of people out there. Listen, I'm not a professional. I don't do this video, all the time. I used to do it a long time ago, back in the late 1990s. But I'm going to come back doing it. I'm going to do little more videos. I'm going to try to get a little more professional, get a little backdrop going on here, and do some video editing. But this is just more of an intro, I guess, as to what these shows are going to be about. It's all about a reality check, folks. You got to take a break from the parties on Friday and Saturday nights. Watch some more news, because this TV, if it was my opinion, there'd be 20 of them. They'd all be on the news. And not that I believe what the news says, but I have to listen to it to get an understanding of what they're telling you. And I'm a big believer in everybody doing their own research. You can't believe everything you read. You can't believe everything you see on this box, especially. What you can believe is what's here in your heart, what's in your gut, because I've learned over the years that what your heart and your gut tells you, man, combined, they're never wrong. And do your own research. Share what you learn with other people. Don't be afraid to talk to other people. That's the biggest thing that is changing our world. Back when I first started, there was, man, I only knew 10 conspiracy theorists, and I was on the internet 20, almost 30 years ago, sharing bulletin board messages with people, and there was hardly anybody. Now, there's, I don't know, there's a network of at least, 40, 50, 60 million people just in the United States that have woken up to this. Excuse me, dry throat. So, I mean, if you're interested in something or something strikes you as curious, man, look it up. Google is one, even though I hate Google because it is government Googling you. But Google is a very useful tool. They're going to know. They're going to know that you're Googling whatever you're doing, whatever you're looking for. But don't let it stop you, okay? And they're going to know everything you watch on TV, especially nowadays. Getting text messages. Yeah, well, I'm not going to pause this for that. But they are, but use it. If you don't know about something or you want to know more about something, use the power of the internet while we still have it. I mean, they're working on shutting it down whenever there's going to be a crisis. And trust me, that's a different subject, but there's a crisis coming that's going to be huge. 9/11 was nothing compared to what's about to happen. I'm not even going to get in there because I'm not about fear-mongering today. That might be my next video. But what is important is that you start watching the videos. I'm going to kick back, lay back kind of guy. I'm not going to be all professional and everything. I make graphics, I make videos, and I'm going to start informing you. And if you question anything I say, anything, check it out yourself. Google it. Form your own opinion. Don't believe everything I say because I'm not 100% right on all this. I've done it for a long, long time. There are things I'm wrong on. I won't say all the time, but there are times that I am wrong. And that's why it's important for you to form your own opinion. Don't let this box over here tell you how to think. Don't let your politicians tell you what's right or what's wrong. You know it in your heart. And once you start digging, and you start finding the answers, it's addictive. It's addictive to the point because clarity is so much better than being in the fog as to wondering why you're struggling day to day to get by to pay your bills. There's a reason for it, okay? And there's a group of people who are behind that. And once you realize that, it gives you a sense of, ease or calm. Because you understand that even though you can try hard every day and try to excel, that there is a system set up to knock you down unless you go along with that system. And if you go along with that system, basically sell your soul to the devil or join these secret societies and let greed and all that materialism get to you. I mean, yeah, of course your life is going to skyrocket, but the most important thing about your life is going to go down, and that's your soul. And it's important to always keep your soul, because that's the one thing that the devil, the people who are controlling this world want. And I guess I'm not going to get into a huge thing. I'm already 24 minutes into this. It's going to be a long time for me to watch this and review it and hopefully post it, because this would be a huge waste of time if I didn't post this up. Anyways, I know, it's Friday night. I got a beer. Whoops, I got a half a beer in me, and it is Friday night. I'm home alone, and there is a video blog I got to do over at Blog TV, which I tend to. I'm going to have a couple more beers and be a lot more relaxed in my conversation. And I'm going to try to enjoy my Friday night while keeping real. So this is Keeping It Real. This is my laid-back Friday night reality check for you. Sounds a little crazy, I'm sure. Some of it might be, but if you know me, you understand me. And hopefully if you keep coming back, you'll know me. Anyways, peace out, guys. I'm keeping it real. And as always, peace out.